Hello there, my friends. We're going to have a little fun today and do a pick a card or pick a pile reading, whichever way you'd like to say it. And the topic we are dealing with is an important warning from Spirit. I personally believe that the universe, it speaks to all of us in a variety of different ways, whether it's dreams, synchronicities, number signs. Sometimes it's calling in good news, but sometimes it's a little warning about what's to come. And that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to get right on into it, where you can choose which pile's yours. If you'd like, down in the bottom in the description and comments, there will be different chapters or timestamps so you can move about the reading however you'd like. So my friends, please enjoy and let's get this going. If you are a veteran of pick a card readings, you know what time it is. It is time to choose your pile or choose your reading. If you look before you on the screen, you'll see 3 separate piles. Each pile has 3 tarot cards and 1 oracle card. You know me, I like to keep it short and sweet. So what I'd like you to do is bring to your mind the question we are posing, or the topic. What important warnings does Spirit have for you right now? What important warnings does the universe need you to know? And just reflect on it. Think about it. You could pause this video for a moment while you do so and go to whichever pile pulls you to it. Now, you can also watch every reading and take what applies. You know how tarot goes. You take what resonates. So feel free to watch each one and take whichever one hits you right in the heart. So pile number 1 right here, we have the beautiful Aventurine Pocket Heart. Pile number 2, we have the gorgeous Carnelian Pocket Heart. And pile number 3, the always beautiful Rose Quartz Pocket Heart. So take a moment, choose the pile, and down in the description and comments, you will see timestamps where you can just move right to your reading. If you chose pile number 1, this is where your reading begins, my friends. And remember the question once again. We're looking for important warnings from the universe or Spirit for you. This is the green Aventurine heart, so we're just going to take this off here, move the oracle card up to the top, and pull these tarot cards down, and we're going to see what the universe has for you. Now, I'd just like to let you know that these were all pulled at random in my usual style that I do all my readings. So we're going to go through it. I'll give you some of the classical meanings like I always do and tell you what I'm intuitively feeling. So card number 1, the oracle card, we have this beautiful dreaminess. This is usually a pretty good oracle card. The 4 of Swords, the Tower, all right, don't get freaked out, don't get nervous, it's all good. Towers could be a lot of things. And we have the 9 of Swords. So obviously here within this reading, there are some warnings here for you from the universe. And we're going to go through them one by one. The oracle card. I love it because it's extremely dreamy, and I do feel like it fits the theme of this reading as a whole, because you see the ethericness, it's kind of nonsensical in its ways, so it brings me to the realm of thought, the realm of the mind, if not sleep. And looking down at the tarot cards, we have the 4 of Swords there, and we have the 9 of Swords. Those are both mental-based, and those are both sleep-based, but we'll go through that as we look further. So I believe your warning has something to do with the mind, thought process, or sleep and physical health. So we're going to keep pushing through it. I see the oracle cards as a little archetype of the message as a whole. Now, the 4 of Swords to me does speak about needing rest or wanting rest. If you chose this pile, you're going to want to watch out for your physical well-being, and you're going to absolutely want to watch your sleep states. You might be tied to someone who's having a lot of trouble in the night, okay, with the 9 of Swords and the 4 of Swords. But you really need to know when to pump the brakes here with this card. That's what the universe is saying, whether you need to take a break, you need to do one, or you're currently within one. That's what this card is to me, especially with the Tower coming up next to it. Now, this is one of the most well-known tarot cards there is. It is some sort of foundation shake. It is something shocking, something surprising. So when we're looking at warnings that could be coming from the universe, this could simply be that, you should expect the unexpected whenever there's a Tower. And it isn't always bad. But the way this is being framed, I'm getting more vibes of like trying not to dwell in pessimistic ways, try not to see things on a bad side of the coin. But the Tower is, whether it's you healing from something that's already happened, a foundation, a shock, it's still lingering here in the energy. And of course, here on the back end, we have the 9 of Swords. And you see that person there, they are stressed. In my general readings, I say this card is something of supernatural activity. So maybe some of you are experiencing or have situations you've gone through very tied close to supernatural activity, but it's someone who's having trouble sleeping. So a large portion of you could be having those type of things coming up in the future. And I believe the main message, the main warning here from the universe is to watch out for your well-being. Make sure you're not running yourself too ragged. The mind is very important. And 3 of the 4 cards that we have out here are all about the mind, with the Oracle card, the 4 of Swords, the 9 of Swords. It's all up in the mental. So hopefully you're not dwelling on a past tower. And intuitively to me, now I'll get into my main intuitive feelings of this. This is either somebody expecting a tower to happen at any moment, or someone who's dwelling on a tower that has already happened. So we have an interesting play, a few different warnings here from the universe, and it is something to watch out for. Now, I also want to explain that we all experience towers. The tarot deck explains things that most humans do experience from time to time. So there are going to be foundation shakeups. There are going to be surprises that happen from time to time. But try not to get yourself into a mind state where you're constantly focusing on it, where you're constantly losing sleep over it, and it's having an effect on your physical well-being. And I feel that is the main message we have here with this warning. So my friends, that's what I have for you. Feel free to watch the other piles, and I'll see you again. If you chose pile number 2, this is where your reading begins, my friends. We had the beautiful carnelian pocket heart, and we're just going to take this off and get right into it. And the topic we're speaking about, of course, because I've mentioned it a few times, is warnings from the universe, or important warnings from spirit. So let's have a little look here. We're going to pull this oracle card out, put it right there towards the top, and get these tarot cards going for you. And yeah, we're going to briefly go through it in my usual style. I just want to say all these cards were pulled at random, like I always do in my general readings. So the Oracle card, we have this beautiful Queen of Cups character. Now, she could mean a whole bunch of different things, but we'll get into that momentarily. Card number 1 in the tarot, you have the Hanged Man. So a lot of watery energy to start us off. We have the 5 of Swords and the 5 of Wands. So you have the repeating 5s. That's something you might want to take note of. Or if you're seeing 5s repeating in your life a lot, you might want to check into the numerology of that. Now, we'll go through one by one before we get a little intuitive with the messages. But this woman, whenever I pull her in a general reading, she reminds me of the Queen of Cups. So maybe some of you are a water sign. You might be tied to a water sign. But the things we think of are emotions. So part of this warning has to deal with someone's emotional well-being or emotional situations in general. That's what I'm feeling from this oracle. Or that could be what is highlighted, what the universe is bringing to your attention, your emotional state, emotional well-being, if you're not a water sign, of course. Now, as we move into the tarot cards themselves, we have the Hanged Man here. That is a card that could represent Scorpio. And classically, this is somebody that could be pulled back, very analytical. It is also somebody taking one for the team. So some of you may be in that mode usually where, like, for the well-being of others, you're willing to sacrifice yourself in some way. Okay, give too much of yourself to something, but this could absolutely be the universe warning you to take a look at certain situations in your life very closely, especially with the double 5s, the 5 of Swords and the 5 of Wands. Those are extremely competitive and they can be conflict-based, but we'll talk more as we move through. The 5 of Swords, yeah, maybe you've had some ties or dealings with somebody that has narcissistic tendencies, because this is a card that represents that. Extreme competitiveness. So that could be something that will be coming your way if you chose this pile, or it's something you're dealing with now, is competitive situations, a lot of people involved, someone trying to win at all costs. But the main highlight, since we have the double 5s, could be the universe just saying, all right, you need to be aware of conflict. If you're going through any sticky situations, you might have some conflict coming in with these. Okay. Now, I'm not saying if you're going to win or lose or how it's going to turn out, but that could just be the big highlight coming in. We have the 5 of Wands here, usually playful, but the lens that we're looking at all of these cards through is what could the warning be? Okay. And very similar to the 5 of Swords, this could be a lot of beef, a lot of static from different angles, a lot of hurdles, a lot of roadblocks. You're dealing with a lot of different people. So we're getting a group feeling here as well. So it's something to be aware of. Now, when I put this card down and I look at the spread as a whole, aside from the double 5 numerology catching my attention, it is clearly saying to me with the Hanged Man and the double 5s that you really need to watch your step as you move forward in life. Of course, people are watching this for different reasons. Maybe some of you are going through conflict right now. Maybe you're not going through any. But with the Hanged Man, the slow and steady, the analytical is don't rush into things. Don't be too overly competitive and try not to get involved in any situations that are Five of Swords and Five of Wands. They're very butt heads type of energy. So if you're dealing with someone that's very arrogant, someone that'll fight you at every turn, fight you at every corner, it's something you might want to pull back from and analyze the nitty-gritty details here with this Hanged Man. Now, the Five of Swords could be a toxic person as well. So we have more warnings there of watching the company you keep. I feel like that is a huge one as well. Because yes, some of us, we don't associate with a lot of people. Some of us, we have to because of jobs, because of school, things like that. So beware of group dynamics and try your best not to get involved in situations where there's a lot of people competing or a lot of people going at each other for different reasons. I feel like the warning is extremely clear here when we look at this whole entire spread. So my friends, that's what I have for you. Thank you so much. If you chose pile number 3 with the beautiful rose quartz pocket heart, this is where your reading begins, my friends. So we're going to start it off here by removing this. And your pile has an oracle card and 3 tarot cards, as I said in the beginning. And the question we are posing, like I said in every pile, is what important messages or warnings does the universe have for you right now? And just to clarify this was all pulled at random, my usual style that I do in my general readings. So we're going to have a little look here. In my usual ways, I'll talk about some of the classical meanings of these cards, and then I'll give you some intuitive feelings that I get from them. And we'll start here with this oracle card. Okay, we have the Little Red Riding Hood that if you look at the imagery, she's being looked at by a wolf. Okay, we have the King of Swords, the Ace of Wands, and the Ace of Swords. So you have double aces, which is extremely interesting, but we have to look through this under the lens of what is the universe trying to tell you or bring your attention to. And I'm initially getting a lot of different things. Now, this first card, I always think of someone focusing on you. This could be a plan-based thing as well, especially with this King of Swords down here on the bottom. But there might be something you're trying to attain or someone who might be trying to attain you. Think of focus. And that's what I'm getting with a lot of these cards as well, like watching what you focus on or watching where you put your energy. I feel like that's going to be a theme that has to do with this warning. Now, let's move through it. Because, yeah, that card could have little aspects of danger as well. So that's something to keep in your mind. The King of Swords, you might be an air sign. You might be tied to an air sign. And this is a plan-based card, as I said. Extremely intellectual, thought-based. And we do have 2 swords within this reading as well. Let me adjust them real quick so we can keep it moving. But if this doesn't represent an air sign person in your life, the King of Swords is someone who is making a plan. And with the double aces, the opportunities, the focus, the drive, the passion, the universe could absolutely be bringing to your attention the need to plan things properly. Maybe in the past or maybe in current times, you do things a little spontaneously or you don't channel your energy properly. You might not be focusing your energy on the right things. So I do feel like this first card is asking us to do that. Like really analyze what it is you're spending your energy on, okay? And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Yes, warnings are here just to bring our attention to soft spots within our life. Now, the Ace of Wands, I do like it, and it does talk about passion and burn and double aces here. You might not be lacking in opportunities in the coming weeks, months, years, however long it takes for you to watch this video. But the Ace of Wands is all about the direction of your passions, the direction of your burn. Yes, it could be conflict, but I don't feel like it necessarily is. We do have fire and air, which is extremely combustible. This can also talk about lusting for something. So maybe some of you are dealing with that, where there is something you're lusting for or wanting, craving. That's what I'm getting here with this card. So could that be part of where you're focusing your energy too much? Or this could be someone feeling these things towards you. It's important to remember. But the Ace of Swords here is communication based generally, all right? And with the double opportunities, I do feel like that's a good thing, but this is the universe asking for us to have clear and concise communication and to see things with a clear mind. As I always say, the swords are all about the mental, okay? And with the double here, it showed up in one of the earlier piles too, that a lot of people that are watching this might just need a few fixes in the mind, their ways of thinking. The Ace of Swords, though, is just really nice and does speak about just being honest. Sometimes in life, there are certain behaviors and things that you might need to cut away, whether that's behaviors within yourself or just looking at things honestly. So once again, I'll just repeat it as we look through all of it. We have the big focus here with the Red Riding Hood and the King of Swords, what you're focused on or what someone could be focusing on you. And the double aces, the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Swords, watch where you're directing your passions. I believe the warning is pretty clear here. So yeah, we do have that little creepiness that maybe there is somebody watching you or planning an action towards you for sure. But Spirit and the universe wants us to know that we need to focus on where we're spending our energy, putting our focus, because we are trying to manifest things in our life, change our lives, make improvements in our lives. If we're wasting our energy in nonsense places, we're really going to go nowhere. So the warning and the message is clear to me. Do the right thing with your energy and you will be rewarded with opportunities. So my friends, that's what I have for you. Thank you so much as always, and I will see you again.